Good morning, Virgo. Not everyone in your life is rooting for you. That is the honest beginning of this reading, and I want to say it plainly rather than arriving at it gradually through careful framing. Not everyone whose presence you accommodate, whose opinion you have given weight, whose reactions you have been reading for signals about your own value, not all of them are on your side. Some of them are occupying space in your life and in your interior attention with a quality of presence that does not serve you, that has not been serving you, and that you have perhaps been slower to name clearly than the evidence has warranted, because naming it clearly requires something that is not always easy. The willingness to see what is actually there rather than what you hoped was there. The specific, sometimes uncomfortable, this changes things willingness to look at someone you have invested in with your trust, your time, your genuine care, and acknowledge that the investment has not been met in kind. That the return on what you gave has been something considerably less than what the giving deserved. Take what is yours today. What resonates, let it land without the immediately reaching for the generous interpretation response that kind people tend to produce when confronted with evidence that someone has not been treating them with the respect they deserve. What does not, release it gently. But for those of you who felt something, clarify when I said not everyone is rooting for you, who felt the specific quality of a truth being named that has been present but not spoken. This reading is offering you something today that your own generous nature has perhaps been making it difficult to give yourself permission to see clearly. Let me speak about what disrespect actually looks like, because it is not always obvious. Not always the loud, undeniable, no room for misinterpretation kind that announces itself and therefore requires no discernment to identify. Often the quieter kind, the specific, subtle, deniable kind that can always be explained away by someone generous enough to reach for the explanation, which is exactly why it tends to persist in the lives of genuinely kind people longer than it should. Soft sigh. It lives in the quality of a laugh that carries something other than genuine amusement. In the joke that lands at your expense and is immediately followed by the "this is just humor" deflection that makes calling it out feel like an overreaction. In the specific quality of someone who diminishes what you share, your achievements, your ideas, your genuine excitement about something, not through direct criticism, but through the particular kind of casualness that communicates that what matters to you does not quite register as significant, that you are not quite taken seriously. In the way that certain conversations leave you feeling slightly less than when you entered them, without being able to point to any single thing that produced the feeling. That feeling is information. It has always been information. And the specific, quiet, I cannot quite explain why, but I feel it consistently quality of it is not a reflection of your own hypersensitivity or your tendency to misread. It is the accurate reading of something real, of a dynamic that does not honor you, of a presence in your life that is taking more than it is giving, including taking the specific and valuable thing of your own positive self regard and returning something smaller. Spirit is asking you today to look at this clearly, not with anger. Anger is available and sometimes serves a purpose, but it is not what this reading is calling for. With clarity, the specific, grounded, I am going to see what is actually there quality of someone who has decided that the generous interpretation, which has been the default for too long, is no longer the only interpretation. They are willing to consider. Who can hold the evidence that has been accumulating and allow it to tell its actual story rather than the more comfortable one? What does the evidence actually say? Not the individual incidents, each of which can be explained away, minimized, contextualized into something that does not require any action. The pattern, the specific, consistent, over time quality of how this person relates to you, how they respond to your good news, how they speak about you when they believe they are not being observed, how they make you feel about yourself in the ordinary course of your interactions with them. The pattern. What does the pattern actually say? Uh, for some of you, it says something you have been working hard not to hear, that the dynamic is not mutual, that what you bring to this person, your care, your loyalty, your genuine investment in their well being, is not matched by what they bring in return. That the respect you extend is not the respect you receive. That the space you take up in their interior is smaller than the space they take up in yours, and that the size of that gap, when honestly assessed, is significant. Seeing this clearly does not require deciding immediately what to do about it. Clarity precedes action. And the clarity, the honest pattern level, I am now looking at this accurately clarity, is the first and most important step. Without the reaching for the generous interpretation, without the immediately finding the excuse that has been the default, simply seeing. Now, let me speak about what Spirit is pointing toward as the way forward, because this reading is not designed to leave you in the uncomfortable clarity without offering something to build from. The recognition of who does not respect you is always in service of the more important recognition of who does, of where the genuine investment actually lives, of the people in your life, and they exist, whose presence consistently leaves you feeling more rather than less. Whose response to your good news has the specific, uncomplicated, genuinely happy for you quality that the others do not produce? Who take you seriously in the specific, I register the full weight of what you are way of someone whose care for you is real? Those people deserve more of what you have been giving to the wrong ones. More of your time, more of your interior attention, more of the specific quality of trust that genuine care earns, and that you have perhaps been distributing too evenly, giving the same quality of openness to people who have not earned it, that you give to people who have. Soft sigh. Redistribution. That is the practical invitation of this reading. Not a dramatic confrontation, not the announcement of a decision or the performance of a boundary. The quiet, internal, this is where I am choosing to invest redistribution of your energy and attention toward the people and the dynamics that actually serve your growth, that actually honor what you bring, that actually return in the quality of what they give, something proportionate to the quality of what you offer. And the natural consequence of that redistribution, of choosing to invest more deeply in what is real and less in what is not, is a gradual, undramatic, this is simply the result of honest choices, shift in how your life feels. In the specific daily, I notice this in the texture of ordinary things, quality of a life that has been reoriented toward what nourishes rather than what depletes. That is the change this reading is pointing toward. Not confrontation, reorientation. Now I want to speak about your own worth because this reading would be incomplete without it. Because the specific harm produced by prolonged exposure to people who do not respect you is not only the dynamic itself, it is the slow, barely perceptible erosion of your own sense of what you deserve. The way that being consistently treated as less than produces, over time, the specific interior question of whether less than is simply what is accurate, whether the diminishment is correct, whether the person laughing is seeing something real. They are not. Spirit is unambiguous about this today. The diminishment is not accurate. The person who does not take you seriously is not in possession of a clearer view of your value than you are. They are in possession of a view shaped by their own limitations, by whatever combination of insecurity and smallness, and their own complicated relationship to someone else's genuine quality produces the need to diminish rather than honor what is worthy of honoring. That is their limitation, not your reality. Your reality, assessed honestly from the evidence of what you bring to every relationship and every situation you inhabit, is considerably more than what the diminishing presence in your life has been reflecting back. And the specific, quiet, I have been living with a distorted reflection quality of having received that diminishment regularly is something that the redistribution of your energy will begin to correct, not immediately. In the specific, gradual, this is how genuine recalibration works way of someone whose interior self assessment is slowly, accurately correcting toward the true. The true is good. The true, what you actually are, assessed by the people who have been paying genuine attention rather than by those whose attention has always carried the distortion of their own agenda, is good, is worth respecting, is worth taking seriously, is worth the specific quality of care and acknowledgement that the wrong presence has been withholding and that the right one's already in your life, already registered by the part of you that knows the difference, are genuinely offering. And see clearly, not harshly clearly, with the specific, grounded, this is what is actually their quality of someone who has decided that accurate information about their own life is more valuable than the comfortable story that inaccurate information supports. Who can look at the pattern and name it? Who can look at the people and distinguish the ones who honor from the ones who diminish? Who can take the evidence of how certain presences make them feel consistently over time in the pattern rather than in the individual incident and allow that evidence to inform where their energy goes next. And then redirect quietly, without drama, toward what is real and what is honoring and what returns in the quality of its presence, something proportionate to what you bring. That is the work this reading is calling you to. Not confrontation, not the performance of a boundary, the quiet, deliberate, entirely self possessed reorientation of your energy toward what it was always meant to nourish. Soft sigh. You deserve to be in rooms where your presence is welcomed rather than managed, where your achievements are met with genuine warmth rather than the particular coolness of someone whose relationship to your success is complicated by their own, where the laugh at your expense is simply not available because the people around you do not have that relationship to you, because they are too busy being genuinely glad you are in the room. Those rooms exist. The people who populate them are already in your life. And the reorientation this reading is pointing toward will move you naturally, without force, toward more time in those rooms and less in the ones that have been costing you more than they return. If this reading found you today, if something here gave honest language to something you have been sensing without fully naming, stay close, subscribe, and come back. Because the story of someone who sees clearly and redirects their energy accordingly, and what becomes possible when the right people receive what was always meant for them, is one worth witnessing all the way through. And the next reading will be there for every grounded, clear eyed step of the reorientation.